You know you all miss this beautiful voice in your afternoons. Anyway, we're here for Unit 8, our last unit, and it's a kind of a fun one. It's all geometry. Lines, points, line segments, endpoints. The fun never ends. So if you're looking at 295 with me, there are 4 major definitions for us to look at and need to be familiar with. A point is shown by a dot, and it is named by a capital letter. So if I were to say what this point would be, it would be point X. A line is a straight path that goes on forever in both directions. When you draw a line, you put arrows on the ends to show that it goes on and on and on and on and on. Lines can be named. So here, this one that I have circled, but on their 2 points. So this would be, notice the arrow, line AB, line GK, and line PN. The thing that makes those lines are the arrows on the end because they go on and on and on. Now, in comparison or in contrast, a line segment is part of a line. It has 2 ends, which are called endpoints. Segments are named by their endpoints. So for here, it would be line segment RS. That's how you would read that. Read this right here. This would be line segment WT. Line segment DJ. You can measure to find the length of a line segment, but you cannot measure to find the length of a line. Why do you think that is? I want you to press pause right now and write a thoughtful response, and we're going to talk about that response tomorrow in group. But I want you to have something written for number 1. So press pause here. Take a moment to think about why you can measure a line segment with endpoints, but you can't measure a line. Okay, so you should have a response for that first page, first one on 295. There are 3 more definitions. This one has a lot of definitions and a lot of vocabulary. So if you're taking notes in a notebook and writing down these definitions, that would be super beneficial for you. The next 3 words I'm going to talk to you about is an angle. And an angle is formed by 2 rays with the same endpoint, and that endpoint is called a vertex. So here, you notice there are 3 endpoints, A, B, and C. You can label figures with letters to name them. So this is called, this little object right here is called angle A, B, C. And you always put the vertex, or the corner, in the middle when you're naming an angle. And this angle is made up of ray BA and a ray BC. When you're talking about rays, you always start with the vertex and name the other endpoint. So draw and label a point and give it a name. Write the name of your point. Not too bad, right? Draw a ray. Label the endpoint. Write the name of your ray. So a ray has an endpoint and can go on forever. You need another endpoint here to give it a name. So let's say this is endpoint B, C. The ray would be named BC. Now, in order to have an angle, you have to have 2 of these rays sharing the same vertex. So I'm going to name this with an endpoint D and an endpoint F. And if I had to write the name of my angle, I start with that little like greater than less than symbol in geometry means angle. And you're going to say DEF. You could also say angle FED. Both of them are saying the same thing. So this is a point. This is a ray. This is an angle that is made out of two rays. I'm going a little fast because a lot of this should be review. A lot of these terms you should have heard before. Now, if you haven't heard of them before, you know that tomorrow in Math Workshop, we are going to do some more work with this, and we are going to talk about the definitions again. So I don't want any panic going on behind the screen. The next three vocabulary situations I'm going to talk to you about are there's three different kinds of angles. There's an acute angle, there's a right angle, and there's an obtuse angle. I say it like that because acute angle is that. It's cute. It's a different size. Acute angles are all under 90 degrees. They all measure less than 90 degrees. And we're going to do a lot of measuring and that kind of thing over the next few weeks. So don't panic. But when I talk about a right angle, it's 90 degrees. So it has a square corner on it. It's 90 degrees. Because when you talk about measuring angles, which is, I think, tomorrow, all the way around on a flat line is 180 degrees. A right angle is measured at 90 degrees. Now, an obtuse angle, is larger, greater than 90 degrees. Now, it's greater than 90 degrees. Now, here's the thing. All of these have a similarity. All three angles are made up of two rays. The two rays share a vertex. So if you notice, here's a vertex, here's a vertex, here's a vertex, here's a vertex. Yeah? Here's a vertex, here's a vertex, here's a vertex, here's a vertex. So obtuse angles, right angles, acute angles, they're all going to have a vertex. They're also going to be made out of two rays. So here's a ray, here's a ray, here's a ray, here's a ray. How is an obtuse angle different from an acute angle? Obtuse is greater. Obtuse is greater or larger. So you really just need to have this basic knowledge at your fingertips or understanding. Okay, so we're going to use that knowledge now of the right, the obtuse, and the acute. And we're going to start with the right one. On these angles here, on 10, 11, and 12, it's asking you to name the angle and then tell me if it's right, acute, or obtuse. I'm going to go straight to number 12 because you see this little square right here? That tells me that this angle is a right angle. That little symbol tells me that's 90 degrees. So the way I would name this is angle LMN. Remember the vertex goes in the middle when naming an angle, or angle NML. I'm using the endpoints and the vertex to name the angle. The same goes with number 11. I would say angle XYZ or angle ZYX. Oops. Sorry. ZYX. That vertex is in the middle. This, if you can just kind of visualize that this is 90 degrees, this angle is acute. It is smaller than 90 degrees. And if I was doing this one, number 10, angle FGH H, putting the vertex in the middle, or angle H, G, F, and this, there's my imaginary, this is a 90-degree angle. This would be obtuse because it is larger than 90 degrees. I want you to try number 13 on your own and number 14 on your own, and we will look at them in small group tomorrow. I will do one on number 14. If you're doing a right, I'll do the right angle. So here's my right angle. 2 rays, right? Each angle has a ray, has an end point, a vertex. And the way I would write this is it's a right angle. So I want you to do the same thing for an acute and same thing for an obtuse. And then your vertex here is going to be E, and you're going to name an obtuse angle would be B, angle B, E, C is obtuse, and I will do one acute, which means you need to come up with another obtuse and another acute. An acute one would be DEC. DEC is acute. So you need to come up with another obtuse out of this figure and another acute in this figure. And then down here for 14, you need to draw and label an acute angle and an obtuse angle. When it says draw and label, you need to tell me the vertex and the 2 endpoints of your rays. Now on page 298A, you need to make sure to have that in class tomorrow because we are going to use those to classify angles in small groups tomorrow. If you're not sure of anything that we went over in this video, we will be going over it again tomorrow, or watch the video again. Check out your Google form, and I will see you tomorrow.